Hello, Leo, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Jen with Bohemian Path Tarot, and today we are doing September readings. I've got the gorgeous Tarot of Mystical Moments here. It is such a glorious deck. It does have a glossy finish, so sometimes there is a little bit of a glare, so we will persevere through the glare because it is such a gorgeous deck. I just wanted to remind you that these are general readings for a general audience, so it's not quite the same as doing a one-to-one reading. It might really resonate with you this month, or there might just be a nugget or two of general wisdom that inspires you. If you know your placements for your sun sign, your rising sign, and your moon sign, I recommend checking out the videos for all of those placements to give yourself a fuller picture. And finally, I fast forward through the shuffling part, through the magic of video editing, because I do a really long and solemn shuffle, and I don't want to waste your time with that piece. So I'm going to give the deck a really good shuffle, and in just a second, I will see you on the other side for your reading. Okay, Leo, let's see what we've got. The Seven of Pentacles, the Sun, the Nine of Wands, and the Eight of Wands. Okay. So let's get ourselves all situated here. So that's a lot. That's a lot. Okay, so kind of the main energy, the main focus is this Eight of Wands, right? Which is messages coming in, invitations, stuff that you have put into motion in the past, like possibly resumes you've put out there, or interviews you've gone on, or something that you have invested your time, your passion, your sort of sense of identity, sense of self, a passion project that you have invested in. And now that energy is coming back at you with invitations, with interviews, with a return on that investment in some way, in whatever way that fits in your world or in your industry. For a lot of folks who are in the working world or are chasing, a sort of dream, or on a sort of a career path, this would be along your dream career or your goals. Wands tend to be associated with like our ego, our our namesake, the thing that we feel associated with the mark we want to make in the world, right? So as an example, for someone who wants to be a rock star, if you've put your demo out there in the world and trying to get an agent or trying to get someone to produce your album or something, this would be the calls that someone's going to produce your album, or at least wants to talk to you about that, or something, or content that you've created goes viral and then gets you a phone call or an invitation, or an interview with the Jimmy Kimmel show to do writing or something like that. For non-creative types, this could also be just an interview with the company that you want to work with, if you've submitted your resume or something like that. You can extrapolate from those examples how that might fit in your world. But interestingly, as these invitations start coming back, or these messages start coming back, There's also this other piece of having waited and wondering when this full harvest is going to come. The Seven of Pentacles is that feeling like when is the time going to be ripe? When is the harvest going to be ripe? So it still feels like, as all of these messages are coming in, you're weeding through trying to find the right one, or you're not getting quite the message that you thought you were going to get, or quite the offer that you thought you were going to get yet in the first couple weeks of September. And I think that has to do more with, coming out of the shadow period of Mercury. Even though Mercury is about to go direct, there's still that shadow phase of Mercury, where things are still a little bit hinky. But come mid-September, we have the Sun card here, which is victory, which is everything becomes illuminated, which is we see what we want to see. In traditional imagery of, like the Rider-Waite-Smith, sometimes there's a small child or a toddler riding a horse of victory, and it symbolizes both like a new beginning and a victory. So you might see like a new job offer, and coming mid-September, once we kind of clear this Mercury shadow piece. Sometimes the traditional, another imagery in another version of the Sun card is a rider on a horse with victory banners. So it's also other images with the Sun card is, the traditional sort of victory. So even if the first kind of messages that are coming in, and they're coming in fast and furious, almost from the get-go, even if they don't seem like the offers, or they don't seem like what you thought you were going to get or what you wanted to get, hang in there, because you are going to be feeling victorious by mid-September. And there's this other piece echoing just kind of the flip side of this message. The Nine of Wands is like being so busy that like you're almost exhausted. Like, am I going to be able to keep up with all this effort? So there's while this is kind of like waiting for the harvest to ripen, right? And there's kind of a lull almost with this, waiting for the right timing. This is like there's so much to harvest. There's so much to do. It's like you almost don't have enough energy to face all of it. So there is advice inherent on this end of the reading later in September. Pace yourself. You might actually have to say no to projects, or you might have to like quit a part-time job or a survival job that no longer suits whatever this goal is. Like, again, with the example of the rock star, if you want to be a rock star and you've been working in an office while you're writing your music or whatever it is, it might be time where you get to quit your office job or something like that. That's just one example, obviously. Apply it as it resonates, right? But of course, a lot of Leos are creative people. So this looks really, really exciting, Leo. But again, these messages are coming in, and this is going to be like throughout September. There's going to be a lot to juggle. So you're going to want to make sure you're checking all of your email accounts, your voicemails, even places where you don't typically think to get messages, or might be an old email address, or something like that, an old-fashioned way that maybe only a boomer would use to get. My apologies to the boomers. I am Gen X, so I don't use all of the, Gen Z forms of communication, I'll freely admit. But, some be sure you're checking all the ways that someone could reach out to you, because you don't want to miss a message, because it might be the one you're looking for, the one you're waiting on might be coming in through sort of a non-traditional or a source that you don't normally use, especially as we're still, closing out this Mercury sort of shadow phase. And for those of you who aren't familiar with that, it just, we're currently in Mercury retrograde, and Mercury tends to fuzzy communications. And even when Mercury turns direct, there's still, a week or so where communications are still fuzzy, and some would argue even a little more hinky until Mercury reaches the degree it was before it started its backward motion. So you just want to be careful and cautious that you're checking all of your messages, your places where someone might DM you or something like that, and also returning messages quickly and concisely, and not hitting reply all or whatever, and you're returning the message to the person who needs to receive the message, that you're following all the instructions on how to reply or whatever it is. Just be really clear and concise with your communications for the message, for the project or the interview or the contract or whatever it is that you want. But there is something that is going to make you feel victorious, and it could also have a sort of element of fame, or certainly victory, certainly more prominence. It's something you're going to want to celebrate. And it's also going to feel like something that had been unclear or murky or hidden or lost will, be brought to light, brought out into the open, be made clear. And finally, it might be a big project, or there might be a series of projects, like multiple projects that come at you at once, or something along those lines that require you to either quit a job or be working on a couple of things, multiple projects, and it might require a lot of energy, or burning the candle at both ends. So there is the advice here to be careful, calendar carefully, and if you have to say no to some projects, if you have to say, if you have to delegate, if you have to be realistic about prioritizing which projects you can take on when, or how to schedule yourself, it might mean prioritizing the things that are most important to you, that are most in alignment with your dreams, your goals, your preferences. It might be painful to say goodbye to a job or to another project, or to have to choose between projects. But ultimately, you are going to have to set some boundaries about what you can realistically take on and when, because you're about to be very popular. And I think, it's about time. So there you have it, Leo. I hope you love it. I think you're going to love it. I think, the Sun card is kind of one of your cards, right? It's reflective of your sunny energy. It's reflective of Hollywood and glamour and joy and victory and being seen. Yeah, and I think this is really going to set a trajectory that is not only for September, not only for the rest of the year, but that's going to set up a trajectory for the next few years. Leo, thank you so much for stopping by. Do take good care of yourself. Until next time, bye for now.